100 years ago, as dawn broke over the islands of Japan, the world looked very different. Wooden houses lined narrow streets, their sliding paper doors glowing softly with the first touch of morning light. The air carried the faint aroma of burning charcoal, mixed with the earthy scent of tatami, mats warming inside quiet homes. In this moment, everyday life was simple, disciplined, and deeply connected to tradition. This is the Japan of the 1920s, a world balanced delicately between ancient customs and the first whispers of modern change. As the sun rises higher, the village begins to stir. You can hear the gentle clack of Geta sandals on stone pathways, and the rustle of fabric as women step outside in simple cotton kimono. Smoke curls lazily from the irori hearths inside homes, where breakfast often rice, pickles, and miso soup is prepared with calm routine. There is no rush, no noise of machines. Life moves at the pace of human hands and seasonal rhythms. Heads of households step outside to sweep their door fronts, a daily ritual believed to invite good fortune. Children, carrying small cloth bags, begin walking toward the local schoolhouse. Their voices echo faintly between the wooden walls, bright and hopeful in a time still recovering from the great Kanto earthquake. In every gesture, every shared glance, there is a sense of community, a quiet understanding that life is built together, not alone. Inside a traditional home, a mother kneels beside low wooden chests, carefully folding clothes made of indigo-dyed cotton. She slides open a shoshi door and steps into the main room, where polished tatami mats still hold the coolness of morning. Every object, lacquered bowls, bamboo baskets, handmade tools has a place. Life here is uncluttered. Minimalism is not a trend, but a necessity honed over centuries. Outside, shopkeepers begin opening their small businesses. The scent of freshly milled rice drifts from local grain stores, while tiny tea shops prepare their first pots of steaming sencha. On the docks, fishermen unload baskets of shimmering morning catch, calling out prices in rough but rhythmic voices. In these scenes, the pulse of Japanese daily life reveals itself honest, physical, and shaped by generational craft. In rural Japan, farmers walk toward their fields carrying woven baskets and metal tools over their shoulders. The smell of damp soil fills the air as the first breezes sweep across endless rice paddies, each reflecting the sky like a mirror. This agricultural rhythm has shaped Japanese life for centuries. Every season dictates behavior. Planting, growing, harvesting, a cycle as dependable as the rising sun. In the city, however, a different kind of day begins. Tokyo and Osaka hum faintly, with the promise of modernity. Black steam locomotives roar past wooden platforms, sending clouds of smoke into the air. Men in Western-style suits walk beside others wearing traditional Hakamatsu, worlds colliding in real time. Change is everywhere, yet tradition still holds its ground. Newspapers flap in the breeze as vendors shout headlines about politics, science, and the world beyond the sea. Japan, having risen as a major power, is rapidly industrializing. Electricity is spreading, streetcars are multiplying, and foreign ideas are flowing faster than ever. And yet, behind every modern street lies a quiet alley where life continues just as it did decades before. At midday, families gather on woven mats for lunch. The meal is simple, but deeply familiar. Bished fish, miso soup, pickled vegetables, and freshly steamed rice. Children talk excitedly about school lessons, while grandparents observe quietly, their faces lined with stories of a different era. Respect flows naturally here. Age is honored, not ignored. As afternoon sunlight filters through bamboo blinds, the day slows. Craftsmen return to their workshops, carpenters, potters, weavers, sword polishers. The rhythmic tap of tools fills the air like a quiet, purposeful symphony. These artisans are the keepers of centuries-old traditions, each passing their skills from parent to child, ensuring that the spirit of old Japan lives on. As the day stretches toward late afternoon, the streets of the village become an intricate tapestry of human movement. Children returning from school race down the narrow paths, their laughter echoing off wooden walls. Some pause near small roadside shrines, clapping their hands together in a quick prayer before continuing home. Elderly women sit beneath the shade of tiled rooftops, skillfully weaving baskets from thin strips of bamboo, their fingers moving with the memory of decades. A traveling merchant passes by, pulling a small cart filled with trinkets, paper fans, lacquered pins, tiny toys carved from pine. Dust rises gently with every step, illuminated by the golden sunlight settling over the rooftops. Though the world beyond Japan is rapidly modernizing, here, time seems to pause. The community breathes as one, grounded in routine, strengthened by connection, and carried forward by the quiet dignity of shared life. In the countryside, the rhythm of life slows even further. The landscape stretches endlessly, terraced rice fields glimmering like sheets of glass, distant mountains painted in fading blue. Farmers kneel in shallow water, planting rows of seedlings in perfect symmetry, their reflections rippling with each movement. Dragonflies dance above the fields, catching the sunlight with flashes of iridescent color. A lone farmer pauses to wipe his brow, gazing across the land that has sustained his family for generations. In the distance, a small shrine stands on a hill, its red torii gate contrasting sharply against the green. Birds circle overhead, filling the gentle silence with their calls. Here, the bond between people and earth is unbroken. Every grain of rice grown in these fields carries centuries of devotion, labor, and unspoken gratitude. Meanwhile, in the bustling heart of Tokyo, life unfolds at an entirely different pace. Streetcars ring their bells as they glide past rows of shops filled with goods from across the world. Students wearing sailor-style school uniforms hurry along the sidewalks, books tucked beneath their arms. Western-style cafes, still new to the city, serve strong coffee to businessmen discussing the future of industry and innovation. Yet, just a few steps away, vendors in traditional attire grill sweet, dango skewers over charcoal, filling the air with nostalgic aromas. Neon signs have not yet claimed the skyline, but the energy of change is unmistakable. Tokyo in the 1920s is a city in transition, restless, curious, and eager to embrace the promises of a modern age while still holding on to the soul of its traditions. In the quieter districts of the city, artisans and performers preserve the beauty of classical Japanese arts. Inside a wooden theater, a no actor sits before a mirror, slowly applying white makeup with steady, ritualistic strokes. His elaborate costume hangs nearby, shimmering softly in lamplight. Musicians tune their flutes and drums, the subtle notes floating through the backstage corridors. Outside, a small crowd gathers, eager to witness a performance that has changed little in centuries. The actor steps onto the stage, moving with a grace that seems almost supernatural, every gesture controlled, every pause deliberate. In this moment, the audience is transported to a realm of myth and spirit, reminded that stories older than memory still hold power. Through the arts, Japan keeps its ancient heartbeat alive. As evening approaches, the sounds of daily work begin to fade, replaced by the gentle hum of social life. In small bathhouses scattered throughout towns and cities, people gather to wash away the fatigue of the day. Wisps of steam rise from wooden tubs as warm water ripples under lantern light. Conversations flow easily in bursts, exchanging stories. Elderly men discussing politics, children splashing playfully at the edge of the baths. The scent of soap and cedar fills the air. Bathhouses are more than places of cleanliness. They are sanctuaries of community, where social boundaries soften and the warmth of shared humanity takes over. Outside, the sky deepens into shades of indigo, and the first stars begin to flicker. As night blankets the countryside, lanterns glow softly outside rural homes, casting warm circles of light onto the ground. Families gather around low tables for dinner, enjoying simple meals prepared with ingredients harvested just steps from their doors. Crickets chirp in the distance, their rhythmic song blending with the soft murmur of conversation. After dinner, children help fold bedding for the night, carefully laying out futons across cool tatami mats. Parents light small oil lamps, illuminating shadows that sway gently along the walls. Though the world is dark outside, inside these homes there is warmth, safety, and a sense of belonging that has defined Japanese family life for centuries. In larger towns, nightlife takes a different form. The soft glow of paper lanterns illuminates narrow streets lined with izakaya small taverns where workers gather after long hours. Inside, the clinking of cups and bursts of laughter fill the smoky air. Patrons order grilled skewers, pickled dishes, and cups of warm sake served in wooden boxes. Musicians play shamisen in the corner, their crisp notes weaving through the lively conversations. Outside, wandering cats weave between the legs of pedestrians, hunting for scraps. The night is alive, but not chaotic, is warm, intimate, and grounded in the rituals of companionship. As the night grows deeper, the streets become quieter. A police officer on patrol walks slowly along the stone paths, his lantern casting a small halo of light ahead of him. Dogs bark in the distance, and the faint glow of distant homes flickers like fireflies across the landscape. In the cities, the last streetcar rattles past before disappearing into the night. A few late workers hurry home, their footsteps echoing through nearly empty avenues. Above them, the moon hangs brightly over tiled rooftops, its silver glow painting the world in soft, dreamlike tones. Japan, in this moment, feels suspended between silence and memory, a world drifting gently into sleep. Before midnight arrives, households prepare for rest. Mothers mend clothing near dim lamps, their needles glinting faintly as they work. Fathers review handwritten journals or read newspapers reporting on political tensions and global change. Children, wrapped in soft quilts, listen to old folktale stories of spirits, heroes, and distant mountains that stir their imaginations. Outside, wind brushes against the wooden walls, carrying the scent of pine and distant rain. The night in Japan a century ago is peaceful, layered with routines passed down for generations. This serenity is not the absence of life, but the gentle heartbeat of a country shaped by discipline, tradition, and an unspoken harmony with nature. As twilight approaches, the rhythm of the rural landscape begins to shift. Farmers, now finished with the day's work, walk slowly along the narrow paths, separating the rice paddies. The earth beneath their feet is cool and damp, releasing the scent of water and grass into the air. Cranes glide overhead, their wings catching the final streaks of sunlight as the sky turns a soft blend of amber and deepening blue. In small wooden huts, lamps are being lit, their warm glow spilling onto the dirt paths like fragile islands of light. Children chase each other near the riverbank, their laughter echoing across the fields, blending with the distant chorus of frogs. The village seems to breathe in unison, peaceful, patient, completely in tune with nature. For a brief moment, the world feels untouched by time, a place where the day ends, not with urgency, but with a gentle exhale that drifts into the coming night. As evening settles, a quiet transformation spreads through the village streets. Wooden doors slide open, revealing families gathering around low chabudai tables. Steam rises from bowls of miso soup, carrying the aroma of tofu and fermented soybean that fills the room with warmth. Outside, the wind rustles the noran curtains hanging over shop entrances, making them sway like gentle waves. A tea kettle whistles softly in one home, while in another, a grandmother teaches her granddaughter how to fold a small piece of washi paper into a crane. Conversations are muted, respectful words carefully chosen, silences equally meaningful. The soft glow of oil lamps casts long shadows that dance on paper walls, turning each home into a flickering vignette of daily life. Beyond these walls, the village grows still, but inside, these small rituals form the heartbeat of the night, intimate moments that bind generations together. As darkness deepens, lanterns become the village's guiding stars. On a narrow street, a merchant carefully closes his small shop, sliding the wooden panels shut with a soft thud. His lantern sways gently in his hand as he walks home, illuminating the uneven stones beneath his feet. A distant temple bell rings, its echo rolling across the rooftops like a slow wave. Cats weave between shadows, slipping silently along the alleyways. Overhead, clouds drift apart, revealing a silver moon that reflects off the river like polished metal. These night sounds: footsteps, faint laughter, the quiet creak of bamboo compose a subtle symphony. For people here, night is not feared. It is embraced, a time for rest, reflection, and the steady return of calm. The village settles into a serenity that feels ancient, as though unchanged for centuries. Far from the villages, in the bustling heart of Tokyo, night paints a very different picture. The year is 1923, time of ambition, innovation, and restless energy. Streetcars glide along their tracks, sparks flashing beneath their wheels. Shop signs glow with electric lights, some flickering, some bright, all competing for attention. Crowds weave through the streets, a blend of traditional kimonos and modern Western suits, symbolizing a nation standing between two worlds. The aroma of yakitori drifts from food stalls, mixing with the metallic scent of streetcar rails. Jazz music from a cafe spills onto the sidewalk, foreign yet exciting, drawing curious listeners. Buildings rise taller each year, their silhouettes cut sharply against the night sky. Tokyo pulses with possibility, live, unpredictable, and determined to shape the century ahead. In one of Tokyo's lively districts, a small theater prepares for its nightly performance. Actors dressed in elaborate costumes apply makeup with deliberate strokes, transforming themselves into heroes, spirits, or tragic lovers from old tales. Behind the stage, assistants adjust props, tighten kimono ties, and whisper cues. The audience filters in, filling wooden seats that creak softly as they settle. When the lights dim and the curtain rises, the first notes of shamisen music float into the room, delicate and haunting. The actor on stage moves with disciplined grace, each gesture carrying centuries of tradition. The crowd sits in rapt silence, transported to another time. In this moment, Tokyo's rush melts away, replaced by the timeless poetry of performance. Meanwhile, outside the theater, Tokyo's nightlife continues to bloom. Vendors shout playful invitations to passersby, offering sweet dango skewers, roasted chestnuts, or fresh taiyaki filled with warm red bean paste. Students gather near bookstores, debating new ideas carried from a broad philosophy, science, politics. Their voices rise with youthful conviction, echoing off the shop fronts. Street performers juggle, dance, or recite comic stories, drawing small crowds who applaud between mouthfuls of night snacks. The scent of charcoal fires mingles with the crisp night air, creating an atmosphere both festive and comforting. For the city's residents, these lively streets are not merely places of commerce, they are meeting grounds, social hubs, and windows into a world that is rapidly expanding. As midnight approaches, the last trains begin their final routes of the night. Passengers hurry across platforms, some returning home after long work hours, others drifting from cafes and theaters. Inside the train, the gentle rocking creates a soothing rhythm. Paper advertisements flutter slightly whenever the doors open, revealing brief gusts of cool air. A mother holds her sleeping child, while an elderly man dozes with his hat tilted forward. Outside the windows, Tokyo blurs into streaks of light, the city momentarily transformed into an abstract painting. These quiet late-night rides offer something rare, a moment of pause within a city that seldom stops. Back in rural Japan, the night has grown deep and still. A lone house stands on a hillside, its faint lantern glow visible from afar. Inside, a father sits beside a small charcoal stove, mending a fishing net with steady hands. His wife prepares tea, the kettle's quiet bubbling filling the silence. Outside, The wind travels through the trees, creating a chorus of soft rustles. An owl calls from the forest, its voice echoing across the valley. This simple home, humble, yet warm, represents the heart of rural life: self-reliance, tranquility, and an unbroken bond with nature. Here, time passes gently, almost imperceptibly, like the slow movement of stars across the sky. In a nearby village, an elderly storyteller gathers a few children around a fire pit. His voice is soft but carries the weight of decades, weaving tales of mountain spirits, brave warriors, and ancient gods. The children listen wide-eyed, mesmerized by every twist of the story. Sparks rise from the fire, drifting into the darkness like tiny stars. Occasionally, the storyteller pauses, gazing into the flames, before continuing with renewed vigor. These oral traditions are more than entertainment. They are the threads that tie the past to the present, shaping values, fears, and dreams. Through stories, history becomes alive, whispered from one generation to the next. As the final minutes before midnight slip away, Japan rests under a blanket of quiet. In cities, the last cafes dim their lights, leaving only the hum of distant traffic. In villages, lanterns are extinguished one by one as families settle into sleep. The sea continues its eternal rhythm, waves brushing against the shore in calm, measured intervals. High in the mountains, shrines sit shrouded in mist, guardians of the night. Across the nation, whether in the neon-lit streets of Tokyo or the silent fields of the countryside, the people of Japan share the same moment of stillness. One day has ended, and another waits just beyond the horizon. In this silence, the spirit of a century-old Japan lingers, peaceful, humble, and deeply connected to the rhythms of the earth. As dawn approaches once again, the faintest shades of blue appear along the horizon. In the countryside, this early hour belongs to fishermen. Their wooden boats glide quietly across the still water, barely disturbing the mirrored surface. Lanterns hang from the bow, casting soft halos that drift over the waves. The fishermen throw their nets with practiced precision, each movement shaped by generations of knowledge. The cool morning air smells of salt and pine from the nearby shore. As the sky brightens, silhouettes of mountains emerge, sharp and majestic. Slowly, the first catch of the day is hauled aboard, flashes of silver fish, reflecting the newborn sunlight. In these moments, Japan wakes, not with noise or haste, but with purpose, discipline, and a deep respect for the natural world that sustains its people. As the morning expands, small town streets begin to stir with gentle activity. Shopkeepers lift wooden shutters, letting in streams of soft sunlight. A baker kneads dough for fresh ampin, the sweet scent drifting through the alleyways. A tofu maker carries blocks of fresh bean curd wrapped carefully in cloth, still warm from the early morning preparation. School children emerge in groups, their faces still sleepy, carrying simple satchels as they walk along dirt paths. The rhythmic tapping of Geta sandals becomes the soundtrack of the morning. Though modest, these routines are the threads that form the fabric of daily life, rituals repeated countless times, yet filled with quiet sincerity. In many homes, morning means the gentle sound of tea being poured. A mother prepares breakfast: steamed rice, pickles, perhaps a small grilled fish, while children sit quietly on tatami mats, rubbing sleep from their eyes. The soft clatter of chopsticks fills the room. Outside, sunlight filters through shoji screens, casting delicate geometric patterns on the floor. A father folds the newspaper, printed with stories about a world that seems far away from this peaceful space. These simple households, built from wood and paper, hold a remarkable warmth, not just in temperature, but in spirit. In their silence, in their routine, lies a profound sense of harmony. Farther into the countryside, farmers begin their morning inspections of the fields. They walk along narrow earthen ridges, checking the health of rice shoots, adjusting small wooden gates that control the flow of water. The sun reflects off shallow paddies like sheets of glass, turning the landscape into a shimmering mosaic. The farmers wear woven hats that cast circular shadows over their faces, shielding them from the growing heat. With each step, their feet sink slightly into the moist earth of feeling familiar and comforting. Their work is steady, patient, and essential. It is a rhythm older than memory, one that sustains both land and life. Nearby, a group of women gather by the riverbank to wash clothes. Their hands move with practiced ease, scrubbing fabric against smooth stones as water rushes gently around them. Laughter and conversation float through the air, creating a melody as natural as the flowing river. The women pause now and then to stretch their backs or admire the morning scenery, the river sparkling, the mountains rising beyond the treetops, the breeze brushing their hair. This simple communal task becomes a space for connection, resilience, and shared stories. For them, the river is more than water. It is a gathering place, a lifeline, a companion. In a shaded corner of the same village, elders gather outside a small shrine. They sit on wooden benches, discussing weather patterns, seasonal changes, and village news. Incense curls upward from the shrine entrance, carrying a sweet, earthy fragrance that blends with the scent of cedar trees overhead. A caretaker sweeps fallen leaves from the stone pathway, each stroke slow and deliberate. Prayer plaques sway gently in the breeze, their wooden surfaces etched with hopes and wishes from villagers young and old. This quiet meeting place serves as the spiritual heart of the community, a reminder of shared history, humility, and continuity. As the sun climbs higher, the village school comes to life. Children run across the yard, their playful shouts ringing through the air. A teacher rings a small handbell, calling them inside. Wooden desks line the simple classroom, and chalk dust drifts lazily as the morning lesson begins. Reading, arithmetic, moral instruction. The students sit upright, eager or anxious, depending on the subject. Outside, a gentle breeze rattles the shoji windows, carrying the scent of freshly cut grass. Education in this era is strict but sincere, meant to guide children into responsible adults who contribute to their families and communities. Beyond the schoolyard, artisans continue their intricate crafts. A bamboo weaver bends slender stalks with fluid precision, shaping baskets that will carry rice, vegetables, or charcoal. The sound of bamboo splitting sharp yet soft echoes through the workshop. Nearby, a young apprentice watches closely, memorizing every subtle motion. The craft is not taught through words, but through repetition, patience, and observation. Each finished piece carries part of the artisan's spirit, reflecting a balance of strength, flexibility, and purity. These handcrafted objects will soon find their way into homes across the village, becoming quiet witnesses to everyday life. Back in the towns, mid-morning markets burst into activity. Vendors display fresh vegetables, pickles, and handmade noodles. The air is alive with chatter, customers negotiating prices, children begging for a sweet treat, merchants calling out their specialties. A fishmonger arranges gleaming mackerel on crushed ice, while a spice seller grinds roasted sesame seeds, releasing a nutty fragrance. Wooden signs sway above the stalls, creaking gently as people move beneath them. This marketplace is more than a trading hub. It is the social pulse of the town, a place where stories, gossip, and flavors all blend together. As the morning transitions toward midday, the streets grow brighter and more vibrant. Children released for a short break chase one another through alleyways, while shopkeepers fan themselves in the rising heat. A delivery worker pushes a cart stacked with wooden crates, wiping sweat from his brow. The scent of simmering noodles drifts from a small eatery, where a cook stirs broth with slow, practiced motions. In the distance, the rhythmic clack of a carpenter's tools echoes from a nearby workshop. Layer by layer, sound by sound, the town becomes a living tapestry woven from labor, laughter, heat, and hope. As the sun climbs higher, the heat softens the streets of the village, and life slows into a gentle rhythm. Women carry water from wells in wooden buckets, their footsteps synchronized with the quiet murmur of conversation. In open fields, farmers pause to wipe their brows, taking in the expanse of land they tend. A blacksmith's hammer rings steadily from a distant workshop, shaping iron into tools that will last decades. Children play quietly under the shade of trees, the sunlight filtering through leaves in dappled patterns across the dirt. In every corner of this small village, the pulse of daily life is steady and measured, reminding us that simplicity carries its own profound beauty. Nearby, a small shrine hosts a midday ritual. Monks chant in quiet rhythmic patterns, their voices blending with the soft rustle of leaves. The smoke of incense spirals toward the sky, carrying prayers for health, prosperity, and harmony. Pilgrims pause to bow and clap, leaving behind small wooden plaques etched with hopes and gratitude. Sunlight pierces through the roof beams, illuminating the dust motes floating in the air like tiny stars. In these moments, time slows to honor tradition, and each gesture feels both sacred and intimate, a reminder that even the smallest acts of devotion hold enduring power. In the town center, the marketplace hums quietly but steadily. Merchants adjust displays of silk, ceramics, and lacquerware. Children tug at their parents, pointing at colorful trinkets or sweet snacks. The smell of grilled fish mingles with the aroma of fresh bread. Occasionally, a bell rings from the temple, its resonance cutting through the chatter. Each interaction, each small purchase, carries weight and affirmation of local trade, relationships, and shared economy. Though modest, the marketplace forms the lifeblood of the town, where tradition and practicality intersect under the watchful eyes of neighbors and elders. In the surrounding countryside, terraced rice paddies shimmer under the full sun. Farmers carefully tend to each row, bending low to adjust seedlings, guiding the water channels with precise movements. A gentle breeze lifts the hats from their heads, carrying the scent of wet earth and growing rice. Occasionally, a crane glides silently overhead, casting a fleeting shadow on the fields below. The day is hard but steady, a cycle repeated year after year, connecting the laborers to generations before them. Each act of care is a testament to the land's enduring importance and the quiet perseverance of those who work it. Meanwhile, artisans in small workshops continue their craft. A potter's hands shape clay on a spinning wheel, coaxing it into delicate vessels. Each curve and indentation is intentional, honed by years of experience. Beside him, a lacquer artisan carefully paints intricate patterns on wooden boxes, the red and black pigments gleaming in the sunlit workshop. Apprentices watch silently, absorbing every movement, every subtle technique. These crafts are not only practical, but carry cultural significance, embodying patience, attention, and the Japanese dedication to perfection in simplicity. In these quiet studios, tradition lives vividly, hand by hand, day by day. In smaller homes, families engage in quiet daily chores. Mothers sweep tatami floors, fathers repair small tools, and children fold laundry or help in the garden. The rhythm of activity is soft but deliberate, each action measured, efficient, and caring. Birds chirp outside, and the scent of morning tea lingers in the rooms. Though seemingly mundane, these moments are rich in life. They define the steady heartbeat of the home, ensuring continuity, order, and familial cohesion. In Japan, these routines, repeated countless times, are the invisible threads binding generations together. Outside, in the rice paddies and fields, seasonal farmers' work continues, uninterrupted. Water channels are checked, small fences repaired, and pests gently guided away. Every gesture demonstrates knowledge passed down over generations. The midday sun glints off wet paddies, creating a mosaic of reflective surfaces. Insects hum in harmony with the movement of workers, while distant mountains stand silent, witnessing the passage of time. These landscapes, labor, and rituals remain almost unchanged, forming a living connection between the people and the earth, a quiet, enduring testimony to Japan's agricultural soul. In the town, midday heat encourages people to slow down. Street vendors fan themselves while tending to small crowds. Children rest in shaded corners or peek into shop windows, curious about goods and treats. Elderly neighbors sit on benches, observing the flow of life, nodding to passers-by in quiet acknowledgement. Smoke drifts from a nearby kitchen, where noodles simmer in large pots. The town's heartbeat is steady, communal, and warm, a patchwork of small interactions, sights, and sounds that form the essence of daily life in Japan, where every gesture, no matter how small, has purpose and rhythm. At this hour, some townspeople take brief respite at tea houses. The aroma of green tea fills the small rooms, mingling with the subtle scent of tatami mats and wood polish. Patrons sip carefully, savoring the warmth and bitterness, their conversation polite and deliberate. Outside, sunlight shifts and dappled shadows stretch across wooden verandas. The tea house, though modest, is a sanctuary, a place to pause, observe, and share quiet human connection. Here, the modern pressures of the outside world are softened, replaced by the meditative rhythm of tea, community, and mindful living. Finally, as midday slowly begins to yield to afternoon, life across Japan continues in its measured rhythm. Farmers, artisans, merchants, and families all proceed with their tasks, small gestures flowing into larger patterns of daily life. The sun climbs high, casting shadows that stretch long and sharp. Smoke from hearths curls gently into the sky. The world seems to pause, yet also hum with quiet activity, a delicate balance of movement and stillness. In this moment, the heart of Japan beats steadily, rooted in tradition, tempered by discipline, and forever attuned to the land, the seasons, and the people who call it home. As afternoon deepens, shadows lengthen across village streets and fields. Farmers return from distant paddies, their hands calloused but steady, tools resting over shoulders. Children pause and play to wave at returning parents, their laughter mixing with the soft hum of insects. In workshops, artisans continue to mold, carve, and polish, their movements precise and confident. Sunlight filters through wooden lattice, casting linear patterns on dirt paths. This hour is marked by the gentle shift from labor to reflection, as the day begins its slow transition toward evening, carrying with it the quiet satisfaction of work done and the anticipation of rest. Along narrow country lanes, women carry baskets filled with fresh vegetables, herbs, and flowers. The rhythmic clack of geta sandals echoes softly against the packed dirt roads. Occasionally, a dog trots alongside, sniffing curiously at the bundles. The sun dips slightly lower, highlighting the textures of wooden houses, thatched roofs, and stone fences. Birds soar lazily above, calling to each other as they return to hidden nests. In these small, everyday movements, a sense of continuity, calm, and connection emerges, a living portrait of rural life, rich with simplicity, balance, and gentle beauty. In the city, afternoon streets buzz with activity. Streetcars glide along tracks, while shop windows reflect sunlight off polished surfaces. Office workers in Western suits walk briskly, carrying documents and briefcases. Vendors sell teas, sweets, and fresh produce, calling politely to attract attention. Street musicians play simple melodies, their tunes weaving through the murmur of conversations. Neon signs are still faint, unlit for now, hinting at the evening energy to come. Here, the city pulses with both tradition and modernity, a delicate balance of progress and heritage, of movement and reflection. On a quiet hilltop, a temple bell tolls slowly, echoing through the surrounding valleys. Monks sweep the courtyard, their movements deliberate and calm. Incense smoke drifts upward, mingling with the gentle breeze. Travelers pause to bow in respect before continuing their journey. The sound of wind through trees creates a serene harmony with the bell, weaving a soundscape both meditative and timeless. From this vantage point, the village, fields, and distant mountains are visible, unified under the afternoon sun. It is a moment of reflection, a pause in the rhythm of life, connecting earth, sky, and human spirit. Back in the fields, afternoon labor continues. Farmers water crops, adjust irrigation channels, and inspect seedlings. The sun casts long shadows across the paddies, glinting off water like scattered diamonds. Children occasionally run along the edges of the fields, chasing butterflies or helping elders carry small bundles. Birds dart overhead, occasionally landing on fence posts or trees. Every motion, sound, and gesture reflects the interwoven rhythm of rural life, an enduring connection to the land, the seasons, and the generations who have tended it for centuries. In small villages, women gather to prepare evening meals. Steam rises from clay pots filled with rice and vegetables. The scent of simmering fish or miso soup permeates the air. Children help by fetching water, arranging firewood, or setting the low wooden tables. Conversations are gentle, filled with laughter, questions, and lessons. The interplay of light from hanging lamps and the shadows of moving figures creates a warm, intimate ambience. In these homes, evening is not rushed. It is a time to nurture family, strengthen bonds, and savor the simple pleasures of daily life. Evening falls softly, and lanterns are lit along village streets and pathways. Their amber glow casts elongated shadows across dirt roads and wooden fences. Families begin to gather, calling children home from play. Dogs bark in the distance, crickets chirp, and the faint rustle of leaves adds texture to the night. Each flickering lantern represents both guidance and comfort, signaling the end of the day and the beginning of peaceful rest. Villagers move with gentle purpose, their steps slow, aware of the cyclical rhythm that has guided life for generations. In the bustling cities, neon signs begin to flicker on as night approaches. Cafes, shops, and small theaters illuminate the streets, casting colorful reflections on cobblestones. People stroll leisurely, enjoying the cool air after a warm day. The hum of conversation, distant streetcar clatters, and occasional music from cafes blend into a city symphony. In this interplay of light and sound, the modern spirit of Japan coexists with its enduring traditions, creating an urban tapestry that is alive, dynamic, and profoundly human. As night deepens, quieter corners of the countryside settle into stillness. A lone fisherman returns home by the river, carrying his catch, while lanterns in wooden homes flicker gently. The stars begin to emerge in the darkening sky, mirrored faintly in calm waters. Owls call softly, and the rustle of nocturnal insects adds a subtle rhythm. Life here is measured, patient, and profoundly connected to the natural world. Each home, each field, each hill seems to breathe in unison with the planet, embracing the night with quiet dignity. Finally, as the day closes, Japan rests under a vast canopy of stars. Cities and villages alike are quieting, lanterns dimmed, streets emptied, and homes embraced by soft shadows. The land, rivers, forests, and mountains all exhale, holding centuries of tradition, labor, and human experience within their embrace. In this timeless stillness, the heartbeat of Japan can be felt, a nation balanced between nature and human life, past and present, simplicity and depth. One day ends, another awaits, yet the essence of life, quiet, patient, and profoundly connected, endures. If you enjoyed this journey through 1920s Japan, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from history. Leave a comment below with your favorite moment from today's video, and join us as we continue to explore the hidden stories of the past. Your support helps us bring history to life.